William Shakespeare, complete works. General introduction. Page 16. Shakespeare recognized that human affairs always embody a combination of permanent truth and historical contingencies to use the terms of his age, nature, and custom. At one level, he is not of an age, but for all time. He works with archetypal character, core, plots, and perennial conflicts, as he dramatizes the competing demands of the living and the dead, the old and the young, men and women, self and society, integrity and role play, insiders and others and outsiders. He grasps the structural conflicts shared by all societies, religious against secular vision, country against city, birth against education, strong leadership against the people's voice, the code of honor against the energies of erotic desire. But he also addressed the conflicts of his own historical moment, the transition from Catholicism to Protestantism and feudalism to modernity, the formation of national identity, trade and immigration, to encounter with new worlds overseas, the shadow of foreign powers. He was restricted by the customs of his age, notably when it came to the subordination of women, but at the same time he was prophetic of future ages, despite the inferior position of most women in his society and the fact that the convention of his theater meant that female parts were played by young men. He gives a remarkable degree of freedom and mental agility to his women. Shakespeare's black characters were originally played by white actors, while faces blackened by charred cork. Ever since the black singer, actor, and political activist Paul Robeson played Othello to Peggy Ashcroft's Desdemona in the 1930s. This drama of interracial marriage has been made to address pressing contemporary concerns of ethnic, cultural, and religious difference. In the early 21st century, the Islamic connotations of the Moor became as significant as his color. Shakespeare endures because with each new turn of history, a new dimension of his work opens up before us. When George III ran mad, King Lear was kept off the stage and was just too close to the truth. During the Cold War, Lear again became Shakespeare's hottest play. Its combination of starkness and absurdity, answering to the mood of the age, inspiring the Polish critic Jan Cott to compare it to Samuel Beckett's Endgame in his influential book Shakespeare, Our Contemporary, 1961, and both the Russian Grigory Kozintsev, 1969, and the English Peter Brook, 1971 to make darkly brilliant film westerns. Early in 1934, when the French socialist government was close to collapse, a new translation of Coriolanus was staged at Comédie Française in Paris. The production was perceived as an attack on democratic institutions. Rioting pro- and anti-government factions clashed in the auditorium. The Swiss translator was branded a foreign fascist. The Prime Minister fired the theater director and replaced him with the head of the security police, whose artistic credentials were somewhat questionable. What are we to conclude from this real-life drama? That Coriolanus' contempt for the rebel makes Shakespeare himself into a proto-fascist. How could it then have been that the following year the Mali Theatre Company in Stalin's Moscow staged a production of the same play which sought to demonstrate that Coriolanus was an enemy of the people and that Shakespeare was therefore a true socialist? Shakespeare was neither an absolutist nor a democrat, but the fact that both productions were possible is one of the major reasons why he continues to live through his work 4 centuries after his death. On 20th June 2006, a production of Titus and Andronicus, directed by Yukio Ninagawa, opened at the Royal Shakespeare Theatre in Stratford-upon-Avon, Sea Place, as part of a festival in which Shakespeare's complete works were staged in the course of a year. Titus is a dramatization of the bloody and inexorable logic of revenge in a militarized world, while the highest value is placed upon the code of honor. For Shakespeare and its original audiences, Imperial Rome was synonymous with such a culture. The Ninagawa production powerfully aligned the play with Samurai codes of behavior. 20 years earlier, the same director had achieved a similar cultural translation in an internationally acclaimed staging of Macbeth. This Titus was an abstract and brief chronicle of several times at once. Ninagawa followed Shakespeare in skillfully collapsing several phases of ancient Roman history into one primitive republican, imperial, decadent, while at the same time spectators were conscious of both Shakespeare's 16th century England and the enduring influence of samurai Japan. But the play still spoke to the present. That same day in Iraq, 2 American soldiers had their throats slit in revenge for the death in an air strike 2 weeks earlier of Abu Musab al-Zakwa, the leader of al-Qaeda in Iraq. According to the Mujahideen Shura Council, this ritualized act of vengeance was carried out personally by Al-Zarqoi's successor, just as Titus exacts revenge with his own remaining hand. So long as we have wars, rape, codes of honor, and violent acts of revenge, Shakespeare's tragic vision will go on being contemporary so long as we continue to be fascinated by human relationships, children rebelling against parents, mothers struggling to let their sons grow up and break free, bad friends falling for the same girl, servants and counselors who are wiser than their masters, ordinary people using jokes as a way of deflating those in authority. His comic vision will also remain alive. People are not really killed on the Shakespearean stage, whereas people do sometimes really kiss each other, which is one of the important differences between tragedy and comedy. People do not speak highly rhetorical, five-beat, iambic, pentameter verse lines in real life, whereas many lines in Shakespeare, sometimes tragic but more usually comic, are spoken in prose, which is one of the important differences between his work and that of more austere dramatists such as Sophocles and Racine. Shakespearean deaths and Shakespearean speeches are stylized. There can be no such a thing as an entirely naturalistic staging of Shakespeare. Stylistically, the kind of drama from which he is furthest is soap opera, though gloriously for all the fine language and exotic settings. Many of these plots and themes inhabit the same realm as those of soap. Boy meets girl, marriage goes wrong, people grow old. Every production has to maintain a delicate balance between creating the illusion of reality and self-consciously acknowledging the theatrical process. Shakespeare loved that duality, which is why one of his favorite devices is what critics call metadrama, plays within the play, impersonation, and dressing up, allusion to the world as theater and life as acting, direct addresses to the audience, choleric figures who are both inside and outside the action.